in our classes. So let's get started. Here are our three teachers. Hi, Marina.
Hello, Melissa. Hello, everybody, dear participants. It's a real great honor for me to be here.
And what country are you joining us from today, Marina?
Well, okay, it's been a while. Yeah, so I'm actually in my native country right now. There are a little bit of difficulties with the power, but I'm really happy to be here. So if I get lost, you know why. So that's that.
Okay, we totally understand. So you're joining us from Ukraine today. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. And let's say hi to Hiba. Hi, Hiba. How are you this morning?
Hello, Melissa. Thank you so much. And hello to all my dear participants. Um, it's been an honor to be here with you, and I really hope to have a great session with all of you.
I'm sure we will. Where are you today, Hiba? Where are you
I
joining
am
from?
joining you from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
Fantastic. And finally, hi, Alicia. How are you?
Hi, hello, Melissa. Hello, everybody. Very good for that today. Thank you. And I'm joining you from Poland today.
Fantastic. So many different countries. I'm Melissa. I'll be the host. I'm joining you from Spain. Let's get started. We are going to meet our first presenter, which is Alicia. So Marina and Hiba, you can turn your cameras off now, but please come back later. And I'll introduce you to her. So, Alicia, she works in Poland. She's a very experienced teacher and a teacher coordinator. She works for the British Council Poland. She's a trainer as well there, and she works as a special educational needs champion. So, she's here today to talk about a subject that's I think is going to be really interesting, and it's non-violent communication. So, Alicia, when you're ready, it's over to you. You can start.
Okay, thank you, Melissa. Hello, everyone, one more time. I would like to tell you a little bit more today about the elements on nonviolent communication and how it can help our students learn a bit better. So I will, first of all, tell you a bit more about what nonviolent communication is. It is also called empathetic communication. So I might use these two terms interchangeably. I will show an example of a non-violent conversation with a student, and then hopefully together we will try to discover and discuss at least a few advantages of using this approach in the classroom. But to start you off, I've got a question for you. Would you say that education is all about emotions? Tell me in the chat, typing either yes or no. We've got quite a few no's and a few yeses. Oh, yes. Okay, so I think, okay, somebody said yes and no. Yeah, this is a safe answer, probably. All right, so quite a few of you saying that, well, no, not really. It's not all about emotions. But this question actually leads us to one more, which is, what do you think nonviolent or empathetic communication is about? Again, let me know in the chat, like a short answer or a few words. Just what your intuition tells you. Fostering a safe environment. Thank you, Maria. Kind treatment. Communication that doesn't involve violent words. Resilience, I love that one. Equality, yeah, quite a few answers for equality. Trust, positive words. Cultivating understanding environment. Hakima, thank you very much for that. Yeah, being considerate, as in rights. Yes, a lot of very interesting answers, and I think that all of you are along the right lines. So just to make sure what we are going to talk about, nonviolent communication was first described by Marshall Rosenberg And he says that this is some kind of an approach that looks to develop empathetic listening and honest expression through increasing teacher awareness of the feelings and needs that are behind student behaviors. And those last three elements are most important. I mean, they are at the heart of the nonviolent communication. So first one is behavior. So this is what we can see in the classroom. This is probably the easiest thing to spot, right? You can see your student who follows all the instructions, and you can see a student who is not on the task, who doesn't follow these instructions for whatever reason. And then Rosenberg says that behind each and every behavior, there are some feelings. So maybe the student who doesn't follow instructions, maybe they're angry, maybe they feel overwhelmed today, maybe they're anxious about something that has happened outside the classroom. And then the student who actually is on task and follows instructions, maybe they're happy, maybe they are satisfied with something, maybe they're excited about the task they are supposed to do. And then one more element is about needs. Rosenberg says that behind these behaviors and behind these feelings, there are always some needs which can be either met or unmet. So again, if you have the student who follows all the instructions, who completes the project on time, probably their needs are met and satisfied. They are okay. They don't need anything right now. But if they display more challenging behavior, more difficult behavior, if they don't follow these instructions, they don't want to do something in the class, probably they've got some needs that are not met. Maybe simple as that, maybe they're hungry, maybe they just need to eat something or drink, right, to be ready to complete the task. But maybe they're desperately seeking attention because they don't get it elsewhere, and maybe they're looking for it in the classroom. I will focus today on the very first element, which is the behavior. And I will try to show you how we can address students' behavior, especially this more difficult behavior, in a more empathetic way. And I think that sometimes such comments can be heard in the classroom. Let's have a look. A teacher might say, well, you're not paying attention to what I'm saying. Or why aren't you working with a partner? Well, you are again on your phone. Please pay attention. But if you have a closer look at these statements, they've got this element of judgment. They are a bit judgmental. This is also an interpretation of what I see. Well, I'm not really sure if my students pay attention or not. This is like a mental process. And Rosenberg suggests formulating our observations based on facts. And here we've got some more examples. Well, I can say, I've noticed you are saying something to your friends instead of, oh, well, you're not paying attention again. Because this is what I can see. I mean, with my eyes, I can see my student saying something to another person. I don't know whether they are paying attention or not. I'm not really sure what they are talking about. I can also say, well, I see you're sitting in the corner on the floor. And okay, somebody is not working with the partner, but what I can see, my observation, the fact is that somebody is sitting somewhere in the corner. And I can also say, I can see, I've noticed you are holding your phone. I'm not sure if they're playing on their phone or texting somebody, or maybe they're looking up the meaning of a new word. What I can see, my observation, not interpretation, is that I can see my student holding a phone in their hand. So the first little trick is just to start our sentences with I've noticed, I see, I can see that something is happening. And when you look at the pink version, this is less judgmental. This can help us diffuse the tension in the classroom. This way we can feel our students less stressed. This is what Teresa was talking about in her session. Nobody likes to be judged, right? So using those bit more judgmental statements it's putting a bit more pressure on our students. Now I would like to show some examples of the non-violent conversations with students. Melissa, would you mind joining me right now for a few seconds?
Yes, of course. Let me just turn on my camera. Okay, I'm ready to be an actress.
Yes, so Melissa will be a student and I will be a teacher. Maria, why are you on your phone again, playing some silly games and not paying attention?
I actually needed to quickly text my dad.
Well, you shouldn't do that. You're in a lesson and you should listen. But it can also go like that. Maria, I've noticed you hold a phone in your hand.
Yes, I'm sorry. I actually needed to quickly text my dad. I'll put it back in my bag.
That's okay, thank you. So a little bit of summary. If I use the first statement, which is a bit more judgmental, I am putting more pressure on Maria. I tell her what to do. I am interpreting, kind of understanding that she's playing some games, although probably I'm not really sure because she is sitting somewhere at the back of the class. And we've got one more example. Melissa, would you mind one more time?
Sure.
Sorry, why are you again talking and going off the track while others are speaking?
I just wanted to share something with my friend.
Well, but it's disruptive and it's disrespectful to your classmates. Please pay attention and stop talking. And the second version. Sorry, I've noticed you were chatting with your friend while others were speaking.
I'm sorry. I just got a bit excited about what we were talking about.
All right. Thank you, Melissa, for your help.
No problem.
So again, a little bit of summary. If I use the second version, if I just try to observe what I can see, I am creating like more space in the classroom. I'm thinking about this mental space that we can open up a discussion with Suri in a respectful way. I still, of course, I can ask her to stop talking, but I do it in a less judgmental way, in a soft way. I acknowledge that something might have happened and I just want to draw her attention. So thinking about some advantages of using the elements of non-violent communication in the classroom, I would like to show you a few advantages, but not all of them are actually true. So have a read and tell me in the chat again, putting the right number, which of these are real advantages, true advantages of non-violent empathetic communication. All right, we already have quite a few answers. Okay, some answers are correct. Yes. Yeah, some of you said that all of these are true, that all of these are correct. I will show you the right ones. It was number 1, number 3, and number 5. I wouldn't say that it makes teaching easier for the teacher, although, well, maybe in the long run, yes. But as there was a fantastic comment in the chat that this approach takes a lot of kind of intentional language from the teacher, that will really have to think what to say and how to say it. So maybe it's not that easy at the very beginning. It doesn't really help solving classroom problems straight away. Again, it would take some time. So maybe it's not fast, but it is definitely efficient. Again, in the long-term perspective. And now think about your classroom experience. I'm sure that, well, you all can name a lot of situations where the student's behavior was or is challenging. So on a scale 1 to 10, how easy will it be for you to phrase your observations as facts and not judgments? 1, very difficult, 10, very easy. Lovely. Quite a few of you said 7 or 8, so relatively easy. 5, yes. So in the middle. Oh, it's really great to see that for quite a few of you, it's not such a big deal to use such language. It is fantastic. There are quite a few 1s and 2s as well. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Fatem is saying, well, I'm doing it these days and that's working for you, for me. Well, great that you've got this experience. Yeah, so, this is a very personal thing. For some of us, it will be quite natural. It will feel natural to actually use such language. For some of us, it will take some more time and some more practice. But I would really like to encourage you, because maybe if you think that it's not very easy, it's definitely worth it. And why? Because empathetic communication creates a safe space when everybody's feelings and needs are acknowledged. And I'm thinking about the feelings and needs of students, of course, but also the feelings and needs of teachers, of us. And when we do this, it opens up a safe space for respectful discussion when we face challenging situations. I mean, we will still face challenging situations. I mean, nonviolent communication is not a quick fix, but it prepares very nice background for discussion, for this respectful, empathetic discussion when everybody can feel safe. If you're interested in some details and Rosenberg's nonviolent communication, here's the book that you can get. You can read it. There's a lot more to discover and to practice. And well, thank you very much for listening. That's it.
Thanks so much, Alicia, and thank you for giving me the chance to be an actress for a day.
Welcome.
We, we will come back to questions for you later, so don't go away. So, anyone, if you have a question about nonviolent communication, write it in the Q&A, write it in the comments now, and she'll be back soon to answer you. But we'll say goodbye for now because we have Hiba Mahmoud Ali joining us. So, Hiba, if you're there, we're just about ready to start for you. Hi,
Hey,
Hiba, how are
Melissa.
you?
Hello again.
Great.
Mhm.
So, I'll tell the audience a little bit about you. So, Hiba's an experienced teacher. She's been working for over 10 years in Saudi Arabia. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And she works in an international school, so she's got experience with young learners. So if you teach young learners, then this is for you. All right, Hiba, I'll pass over to you, and if you need me, I'll be here. But for now, I'll turn my camera off. Enjoy idea two, everyone.
Thank you, Melissa, for such a great introduction. And I'm really glad to be here with all my dear participants. Thank you again for joining. So without a further ado, I would like to start my presentation. And so what I really try to introduce myself as being a social and emotional ardent supporter throughout my education career. And one of the strongest aspects that I have found in the journey towards the social and emotional learning is building empathy. And that's what mostly I'm going to talk about. And what I'm really glad today is one of our fellow speaker, Anna Hasper, she has already shed a light on the terms of social and emotional learning. So for the beginning, all it's going to be, it's just a quick review on the topic, and then I'm going to move forward with a practical activity through which you can integrate social and emotional learning with your academic journey along with the students. So to begin with, I have a quick question for all of you. And that is, on a rate of 1 to 10, how well do you believe your learners know empathy? Hmm. Okay, we are getting answers all along the spectrum. Okay. 5, 8, 7, 6. Wow, 9 to 10. That was a good one. 6. Okay, that's a good thing because we are somewhere around the same level on the spectrum, and that's a great thing. So to begin with, as I said, I'm going to quickly shed a light on the power of SEL development in the holistic growth of a student, because that's what the a main aspect of social and emotional learning is. So just as a quick brief or an intro or a quick revision to what Anna Hasper already has spoken about in today's session is, it's just a way through which we empower learners to develop essential skills not only for their academic success but also for their holistic well-being of the students. And that's what we really teach in social and emotional learning is how do we navigate or help our students navigate through all the aspects of their growth, irrespective of whatever academic stage they are at. How does SEL contributes to the learner development? There are 5 main aspects that SEL contributes towards, and we are going to just briefly look at each one of them as we follow through. So the first one is their cognitive abilities, their sense of self and their sense of who they are in person, what are their strengths and what are the areas that they could work on. Social skills, who can I be when I am walking into a classroom with a bunch of the students, or in simple words, what do I have or what do I bring onto the table as a student with other kids, or how do I socially interact with each one of them. Emotional, how do I regulate my emotions? How do I recognize them? What are some of the ways that I can deal with my own self going through certain emotions? Mostly the negative ones, such as being angry or sad, but even the happy ones, such as being excited or happy. Moral, how can I uplift myself when I'm going through some areas which are very difficult for me to accept or to grow on? And of course, the basic decision-making skills. If I'm in a situation where I might face a dilemma, how do I face through it or how do I go through it? So these are just the basic aspects on which SEL really sheds light on. Now let's really focus on what's the main activity that I would want to share with my fellow speakers right now. And the activity is called as walking in someone else's shoes. Now, this activity has given me great results over many times that I have applied it in my classroom or, spoken to the other colleagues who had shared a same or a similar idea. It is something that you could start um, or do at the beginning of an academic session, or maybe at the beginning of, you could say, your semester or quarter, whatever pattern that follows into your academic year or the calendar. But it's something that really helps you build that ground with your students. Okay, so it has a certain steps, and I'll try to go with each one of them in detail. So the first one really just begins with the basics of explaining what does empathy really mean. So you start by defining the term empathy, and you try to just use the simplest and the easiest of vocabulary while you try to do that. For example, you can always begin by saying you have this concept of empathy where you are just trying to understand what the other person might be going through. You try to share the feelings of the other person, and it's just not just feeling sorry for that person. It's actually try to imagine yourself in that situation and what would you do if you are whomever you are trying to understand with. So you always start by explaining what do you really mean by empathy. The second step is try to understand why empathy is important and why is it important to have positive relationship with the people around you, how you could do that, and what advantages are you going to get if you have a positive relationship or bond with anyone around you. And you could use words such as understanding, compassion, trust. And as I said in the previous step, whenever you're trying to explain an activity as of such concept, try to use the simplest and the easiest of the vocabulary that you could use while communicating. Okay. The next step would be, you could also, by the way, share a hypothetical example with your students of how you could build a positive relationship. It could be just you giving an example of two best friends. It could be Sarah and Emily. Sarah is feeling down about a recent failure in test. Now, if Emily just uses simple words such as, oh, that's too bad, or such as, I'm so sorry you're feeling that way, Sarah wouldn't feel her emotions getting validated. Now, if Emily would use some different words around the same edge, but saying that I can imagine how disappointing that must be, or it sounds tough to see that F on a test that you worked so hard, Sarah would feel that, okay, there is someone who could really understand what I'm going through. So again, it's walking, or it's understanding or feeling more than sorry for the other person. The next step would just really be simply pairing up 2 or 3 or a group of students together. And it's usually favorable if you do that students, those kind of students who do not really know each other or are reluctant to be with each other. So it's gonna give them that that platform to be more social with each other and kind of break that ice, you know. Each partner will actually share a very brief story about a time that they felt strong emotions. It could be one particular experience, just like a memoir. And the story should be focused on the kind of emotions they felt. It could be an emotion of sadness, where a person could say, I remember feeling sad when my dog died. And it could be feeling of anger, or it could even be a feeling of joy. So it's not really a negative connotation all the time. It really just depends upon, you know, the kind of emotion that where you truly felt very strongly about that emotion. Okay, now I want you to just take a while and think, what do you think out of all to now the steps that we have taken, what do you think your learners would mostly benefit from? Is it listening to the hypothetical example that you would give, or would it be more like talking to or working with those people with whom you're not really very you know, very open to working, or would it be like sharing personal stories? So take a while and think about it. And please share your answers in the chat box. 2, 3. We're seeing a lot of threes over here, actually. Sharing personal stories. 3, 2. Okay. Great. All right. I could see a lot of 2 and 3s, and thank you so much again for your feedback. I truly appreciate it. All right. Moving forward. Now comes the 3 main steps of this activity, and 3 main aspects, sorry, of this particular step. It's the perspective taking. What actually happens? What's the point of all this talking and listening between the group, within the students within this group? So the first step is, or the first aspect is active listening. So when you're really, really actually implementing this activity, you're not really just sharing the stories around here, but you're also teaching the students how to actively listen without interrupting the speaker. It would also include making a certain eye contact and having that bond built up within the students. The next step would be clarifying questions. So if the speaker is speaking, but the listener has some kind of confusion around the lines of the story that they're telling, they're always open to ask questions to clarify and deepen their understanding. What could be some of the examples could be, what was the most difficult part of the experience? How do you physically feel when you were feeling that way? Did it physically affect? Were you able to function normally while having that feeling? And how did you cope up with those feelings? And definitely there could be more. These are just sample and, model questions. The next would be reflecting. So once you are done with listening and asking questions, it's time for the listener to summarize the feelings and take a perspective to ensure understanding. It could be just basically a reply in terms of conversation, saying one of the examples could be, it sounds like you felt a lot of sadness and loss when your dog passed away. You felt like you had lost a family member. Now, when the speakers kind of has this reflecting back of a perspective, it does give a surety to the speaker that I was heard and I was understood and my emotions were validated in this aspect. The activity just ends where almost ends where the partners just switch the roles. So the listener now becomes a speaker and a speaker now becomes a listener. And then they kind of, go through the same process of listening and asking questions and reflecting back and so on. At the end, you just facilitate a discussion or group discussion among the students. It could be also one-to-one discussion between a teacher and a student. They can reflect on the experience, saying how do they feel to share a personal story? Was it easy to be vulnerable with someone that they're not really being comfortable being vulnerable with? Or what did you learn about yourself as a listener? And so on, How can you apply what you learned today to your relationship with others? What did you learn from the whole situation? What is something that you even discovered about yourself as a listener or even as a speaker? So just a reflecting back, in the chat or in the comment box, please let me know, what do you think would be the most difficult part of this whole activity for your listeners? Would it be active listening, clarifying questions, reflecting back, or group discussions? Please share your reflection in the chat box. The reflection. Definitely reflecting back and presenting your own is sometimes a bit challenging for the young learners. I can understand that. Yeah. We are actually getting a lot of reflecting back. Active listening. Yes, when you definitely have a lot to say, active listening could be a bit difficult. I agree. Group discussion. Thank you, everyone, for your comments. I truly appreciate it. All right. So just as a roundup, this is my favorite analogy that I'd like to always use when we're talking about social and emotional learning is the shrimp's heart example. So we all know that a shrimp's heart is in its head. And as educators and as teachers, if we really know how to take care of their tender hearts, we'll be always be successful in bringing out the best from their heads. So thank you so much, everyone, for listening. I appreciate it. Thank you for being here.
Thanks so much, Hiba. That was lovely. And it's nice to have just a whole sequence of a lesson that you can take to class. I mean, thanks so much for being so generous with your
Thank you.
activities.
Thank you, Melissa. I appreciate it.
So if you have a question for Hiba, write it in the Q&A and she'll be back in about 15 minutes to answer. But let's welcome Marina Yesipenko back with us. Hi, Marina.
Hello again, and hello to everyone who has just joined in. How are you feeling, everybody? Could you please write in the chat how all of you are feeling today. How are you right now? Please write in the chat.
Great first question. I'm feeling inspired. I'll definitely tell you that. I'll tell everyone a little bit about you. You work in the Czech Republic, but you're Ukrainian. You're joining us today from Ukraine. And well, Marina's been a practicing ESL teacher and a teacher trainer for 15 years. So she's certainly got a lot to tell us. And at the moment, she's also training to be a Gestalt therapist. Did I say that word right, Marina? Gestalt.
I don't know, because everybody pronounces it their own way. And I think this is the great idea. Yes, to find something, you know, like to invest a bit of yourself into the world. So that's the kind of thing.
Great. Well, Marina, I'll pass over to you now and I'll be back in 15 minutes and we'll take questions. So everyone, another great idea from Marina. Enjoy.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Melissa. Oh, everybody, I'm looking that you're inspired. You're happy to participate. Wow, you're from Romania. Wonderful. I've never been to Romania, but I would like to. Okay, everybody. So I think we are ready to start. The only thing we need is me sharing my screen. Please write in the chat if you can see my screen and everything is fine. Okay. Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. Just one moment. Yeah, okay, yeah, I can see. One moment, please, everybody, because this is my big problem. Yeah, finding the chat when I'm sharing my screen. So let me just, because I'm feeling extremely nervous, you know, guys. So this is just unbelievable. Yeah. One moment.
Anything I can do to help, then just let me know.
Yeah, thank you. I need to sort it out by myself. Thank you for your supportive talk, because this is actually, please write in the chat if you can see my screen. Wonderful. Yeah, that's right. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. So today, I'm really happy that you are inspired, happy. Some of you are sad, maybe bored, maybe tired. I'm anxious a little bit, just like every time I have to speak in public. So today we are talking about supportive teacher talk, what it is, what pros we can integrate into our classrooms, and how to use supportive teacher talk with different age groups. Probably you will find some practical ideas there. So first of all, what I would like you to do, could you please write in the chat, yes, from 1 to 5, so 5 is almost nothing, and 1 is almost nothing, and 5 is a bit too much. How much do you speak as a teacher in the classroom? Let's take a look at all this. Okay, great. Yeah. I see a lot of wonderful, yes, ideas. Okay. I actually speak too much as a teacher sometimes, so maybe this is a big problem, but yeah, not always. All right, one more question to you. When you have to speak in the classroom, for what purposes do you tend to use your teacher talking time? For example, you give instructions, or what else do you do basically? Just one moment. Okay. Yeah, STT is precious. Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah. That's the right thing. Today we're going to look at the pros of teacher talking time and how we can basically use teacher talking time, not student talking time, as a valuable tool to establish rapport in the classroom, to help our learners and to correct them, help them get positive reinforcement, help them boost their motivation. Oh, I see someone is writing to give feedback, to encourage learners. Yeah, how to get to establish contact with them, more interaction, how we can somehow affect their emotional state, and how we can get to know our students better. I see a lot of wonderful ideas, so let's move on and let's see what we can do with each age group. First of all, let's focus at supportive teacher talk with kids. But now I would like you to be a little bit of a kid yourself. So please put on a kid's head. Remember yourself as a child. And we will delve into an interesting adventure. You will see a picture and some questions. Please write to me how you feel looking at this picture. So please write in the chat how you feel looking at this picture. Would you like to be in the place like that? Why or why not? It's cold. Yeah, Melissa, it is cold, I guess. I don't like cold. Freezing. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Would you like to be, oh, adventurous? I love it. Okay. Snow and freezing. Interesting. Okay. No. Okay. Stuck. Oh, that's interesting. I would actually, if I saw you face to face, I would ask you why you are feeling stuck here. Exploration, excitement. Yeah. I've never climbed a mountain. Yes, me neither. I mean, like a real mountain like this with a lot of snow. Wow. I love mountains. Yes, I love mountains too. So you see how much interaction is happening right now between me and you. Yes, there are a lot of you, but I'm trying to get involved into and establish contact with a little bit of your lives, you know, from different sides. And I think this is one of the main things about working with kids, being in contact with them and being in genuine contact. So what I would like you to do is probably if you next time work with your students' art, and I think that young learners do a lot of art, yes? They create something, do something with their hands, a lot of paintings, drawings, something like that. After asking them to present this drawing or whatever you have, whatever task you have set, right? Ask them some questions. What are your feelings when you look at this picture? And they might answer adventurous, maybe cold, maybe freezing, maybe happy. I've never climbed a mountain feeling, okay? Then are you in this picture? If you are, who is near you? Oh, you're alone. That's really sad, okay? Something like this. Who is near you? Have you had a similar situation in my life? With my friend, totally exciting. This is amazing. Yeah, my mom. Okay, so a lot of things. And I also like spending time with my friends, for example, in the mountains. Yeah, so this is the idea to relate. But the idea is not to pretend, but to express genuine interest, like to what the person is saying. So supportive teacher talk with teens. Now I would like you to put on your teenager's hat. Would you try? So what I would like you to do, also look at the picture and please answer the questions about the picture, then write in the chat. Talk to me, please. So what feeling does this picture give you? By the way, I took this picture next to the Polish border, I think. Hello, Alicia. Yes, I think maybe you have been to this place. It's somewhere next to Śnieżka. And this is a wonderful place in the mountains, but these mountains are not as high as we've just spoken about, yeah? So what is the first thing that you see and what situation from your life might it remind you of? Yeah, it's very lonely, sad, holiday. Oh yeah. That's a good idea right now to think about the holidays. Wow, your dream. I'm really interested in your dream. Pilgrimage, yeah. Traveling, rocks, grass. Okay, yeah. Mountain, flight, a path somewhere, yes, to the future. What feelings does it give you? Please write what kind of feeling. Oh, lonely. I see some feelings. Exciting. Yes, scared of heights. Okay. Yeah, I'm also sometimes scared of heights, but looking at the picture, I admire it a lot. Curious. Yeah, just like this. So how can we work with our teenage students? You know that teenagers are usually the people who have ups and downs all the time. And sometimes using these pictures in our ELT classes, for example, at the start of the lesson, or maybe the use of metaphorical cards or some thought-provoking pictures. Metaphorical cards are the cards which show different objects, and people will try guessing what might be in the picture. So psychologically speaking, their subconscious will help them to understand what is there and what problems might be ingrained in this picture. So it's, of course, it's important not to dig too deep into that, because you never know what kind of problems you can get into together with the child. So please try to establish contact, but remember, we are not psychologists, we are teachers. So the main thing is, when you're working with these cards or thought-provoking pictures, at the start of the class, ask them, what is the first thing you see? What feelings you have? How this picture can relate to what is happening to you? I sometimes have some ADHD students or some students from some distressed environment with whom I sometimes discuss these things at the start of the class. And many of them do appreciate that, yes, that I'm really interested in what is happening to them. Just like this. Please write a plus in the chat if you do it like that too, yes, that you're interested in what is happening in your teenagers or in your students' life. Yeah, a lot of wonderful ideas. Yeah. Wow, it's really important that such teachers, yes, who just try to get involved with what is happening to your students, that such teachers exist. Thank you. All right, and of course, when we grow up, we still need support. I know, I'm an adult, I'm 41 years old, but I need support from time to time, and I want to create rapport or someone to create rapport with me. How can we deal with this kind of like situation, and how can we use supportive teacher talk with adults? One of the like basic things that happens to me on a regular basis is teaching lower levels, elementary, beginner, and especially when people of 30, 40, 50, 60 plus years old come up to me and they want to learn the language. They are very clever, they have a lot of life expertise, but the problem is they cannot use the language to express this enormous expertise, and it can be a little bit intimidating for them. What I am doing, yes, of course, when we do difficult grammar, some challenging things and so on, we are trying to work it out somehow, and we are trying to deal with the different kinds of things. Just one moment. Let me just check it out. Yeah, so we are trying to talk to like students, to our students in a variety of ways. Yeah, when after doing a challenging task. Imagine, especially in the case when a student is not ready, yes, with this task, not completely. The person cannot arrive at the answer. The person cannot get the answer right, and they are really extremely intimidated. I cannot use present perfect. At this point, I can ask this person some questions. What did you do to get to the answer that you have? What part of your strategy worked out? What can you change next time to arrive to the right answer? And what can you learn from this activity? A bit of reflection questions. So what I would like you to do is, could you please share with me, like, what is your main takeaway from my workshop today? So like, what did you like about the workshop? What did you find useful? Please write in the chat how you feel about all this. Yeah, by the way, Valentina is writing a great question. Yes, while I'm waiting for everybody to write. Yeah, she asks if they have the high level of English. Of course, they can use their like second language. Of course, at the lower language, I think it's not criminal or it's not a really like forbidden action to speak using L1 with them, because to establish rapport, we can use our native language. And I accept it in my classroom. Thank you very much, everybody. STT is good to encourage students and building rapport. Yeah, thank you very much for your contributions. I'm really happy to be a part of this amazing team we are today. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Marina. And my takeaway is I really want to use more photographs. That's something I've been reminded of. They really help people talk about emotions. It's just an idea I've just forgotten all about. So thank you. Great. So let's invite everyone back. So Hiba, Alicia, if you're there, come back. And anyone who has a question for either Marina or Alicia or Hiba, ask it now. Now's your chance. We're here for about 8 or 9 more minutes, and take advantage of this time to You could either ask a question about the activity, or ask them how to deal with something. They are here to help you, teacher to teacher. So, well, thanks everyone. Very different ideas, but all connected with this idea of helping our learners develop. So it was great. I can already see some questions, so let's go. There's a question that's come in from Alicia. It's it's from Diana. And Diana, I'm going to shorten your question. I can see what you're asking, and so Diana's question is about, as a teacher, um, do you have any tips of how to make yourself more aware of the language? Because I think Diana wants to use your ideas, but is worried she'll forget in the moment. Any tips?
Yeah, well, thanks, Diana, for the question. I think it is a great one. And actually, if you ask
Mm,
about this awareness and self-awareness, it already means that you are aware of the language and how important it is when it comes to relationships with our students. Um, the first thing I would say, it really takes time, so don't be too harsh on yourself. And the second idea, probably a bit more practical, is if you have a chance to ask a colleague to come over and observe your lesson, that would be a great thing to do, because then you can ask them just to pay attention to this one particular aspect, which is how you comment on your students' behavior, how you address some challenges when it comes to students' behavior, and then you can just have a friendly chat
mhm,
with this colleague, and they might tell you, okay, this is what I've observed, this is what you said, and you can, even think together whether that was efficient or maybe not necessarily. Recording a lesson is also an idea if you have a chance
mhm.
and if you can do that, because later on you can watch it again, and really you can pinpoint some moments where you might think, okay, I would like to change it, or I would like to adapt it to make it more empathetic. And last thought, apart from the Rosenberg's book, there are a lot of videos available online, and they are for free.
Mm,
He gives a
mhm.
lot of examples of NVC language, NVC communication, and not NVC. And I think this is also a very good way of seeing the difference and looking at those different examples. So hopefully you will find some of these ideas helpful.
Great. Yeah, lots of different ideas. Yeah, fantastic. I think I might invite someone to come in. That would be a really nice thing to work on together. I'll also use the notes that I took today and I'll put them on my desk, and hopefully that will remind me. Great tips, thanks. Um, let's go to a question that came in from Ikram for Hiba. And Ikram wants to know, do you have any techniques for improving students' active listening skills? This is a part that Ikram imagines will be quite difficult in their class.
Thank you, Melissa, and thank you, Crown, for such a great question. And actually, this is a real deal, kind of an issue, especially with the young learners,
Yeah.
and they kind of don't have that kind of a self-control on themselves. There's so much to express and talk, and especially when you see like the other person talking and you feel like you have similar thoughts on that, and just want to blabber it out. It happens a lot even with us adults, but we kind of understand of giving the space of the other person to talk. What I
Mm,
would say is that if you find out there is a specific student or learner in your classroom, and you witness them not giving the speaker giving or not you witness them not giving the speaker enough space to talk, and them
mhm,
being an active listener, what I have found as the most successful in this situation is to have like a private one-to-one conversation with them, and try to put them, or give a hypothetical example again, like let's imagine Sarah, if you were the one speaking and the other person kept on interrupting you in between, how would you feel?
yeah.
Let them walk in
Mm,
someone else's shoes, and try
mhm,
to just like try to make them understand how bad they would feel if someone just kept on interrupting in between them. And so when they themselves are in that situation, or when they would imagine themselves to be in a similar or same situation, maybe that would help them to be a little bit more empathetic again, to be an active listener, give them, bit control on their emotions in that aspect. Also, what I have found is time allocation is a great strategy. So let's
Okay.
say the speaker gets a minute. During that
Mm-hmm.
minute, the listener would just zip up their mouth and they would try to listen, understand, and have that connection one, and actually listen, not just hear, but actually listen and understand what the other person is saying. And also, when there is an aspect of reflecting back, as it was in the activity, definitely when you are supposed to reflect back, you have to listen very attentively. So when you
That's
make
true.
that's one of the steps clear to them, that eventually would have to reflect back, and surely you cannot reflect back without listening actively. That
Yeah.
kind of also gives them a little bit, perspective on that aspect. So yes, hopefully I answered your question, Ikram.
Yeah, lots of tips. And I mean, it also might not work perfectly the first time, but you
Sure.
practice it and you keep
Yes.
doing it as well, right?
Exactly. Thank you, Melissa, for that point as well, because obviously it comes with the practice. What comes
Yeah.
a lot, even with a dialogue, with communication, and also
Mm-hmm.
making it very clear to your student, or a particular student that you might be struggling with, is what are you truly expecting as a teacher?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point. Good
Yeah.
point. Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa.
Um, we've got a question for Marina that I saw in the chat. Let me just find it again. And I've lost which teacher it came from. I'm sorry, I'm not reading out your name, but it asked something like this. Can sometimes the student talking time be in their first language? I think you touched on that. Would you allow that to make a more learner-centered class, even if it wasn't always in English? I think I can guess your answer.
Yeah, thank you for this question. Also, there was another question. Maybe I can combine them together. So,
Yeah.
like I said, yeah, like it was from my experience, of course, it can be in the first language. So,
Hmm.
rapport is paramount in my classrooms. So, I do
Yeah.
L1 in my classroom, and I think every teacher, or of course, depending on different kinds of limitations and restrictions which are put on your shoulders by the authority, by schools, of course, you decide for yourself. And there was a second question, yes, about using STT, yeah, supportive teacher talk, but with lower levels. But when you do not share the language, yeah, so you don't speak the first language of your students. To be honest, that's a great question, because I can again speak
Mm.
from my experience, because I always learned the language. So when I worked with Japanese students, I learned Japanese. When I worked with Czech students, I had to learn Czech from scratch. So it was, I
Hmm.
think they were my best teachers. But
Hmm.
the best thing, I think, is speak less and draw more. If you're working with kids, it might be a good idea for them to maybe express themselves not only by means of words. They are very
Hmm.
in terms of drawing, maybe, I don't know, like creating something, and you can ask them simple question: who is it? How are you feeling? And I think they can find the language for that.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think I said before student talking time, which didn't make any sense. Supportive teacher talk, I've got in my mind from an acronym and another way. Apologies for that. Um, so, I mean, everyone, thank you so much for your questions. I know there are lots more, but I'm really sorry we've run out of time today. So let's give a huge thank you to our three experienced teachers who've come today to give ideas. Thank you to the audience, everyone watching. You've been amazing. We've loved all your comments. Thanks to Joe, who's moderating, and to Marcus and Wiam, who are working on Facebook with us. So thanks, everyone. Have a great day, and we hope to see you again next month. Take care. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.